Good evening. Welcome to Chaska City Council meeting for Monday, July 15th. We'll call the meeting to order at 7:02. We're not too bad. We had so please, will you join me in standing in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good evening. Good evening. Sorry, we had a previous meeting, so we're running a little bit late, but not too bad. So with that, Nate, will you call roll, please?
Yes, Councilmember Hatfield.
Here.
Councilmember Hubbard.
Here.
Councilmember Wong. Here. Councilmember Grau.
Here.
And Mayor Winchell.
Here. Moves us on to item 4, adopting the agenda. Are there corrections or additions to the agenda? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Motion.
Motion by Councilmember Wang,
Second.
second by Councilmember Hatfield to adopt the agenda. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moves us into item 5, visitor presentation. And I do have Anna Mason here tonight, but I just want to reach out and say happy 104th birthday to Myrtle Kemp. Some of us attended her 103rd birthday party last year, and I believe she's having dinner tonight with friends, and I just have a couple things. She played organ for a church for years. She still maintains her strong faith, and she loves the garden yet. So 104, I can't even envision that. So awesome. So happy birthday, Myrtle. I heard you may even be watching, so. All right, with that, we will move on to the Nick Mason Scholarship Fund and Anna Mason. Come on up.
You know, I had Marshall stick around too because it involves the Park and Rec Department.
Oh.
So he can probably talk a little
Yeah,
bit about
because I am a little curious exactly what this is.
Yeah, I need my
Go ahead.
wingman.
Pardon?
I need my wingman. Well, first, thank you all for entertaining the idea of the scholarship fund. It's something that was near, Nick and I had talked about, but never just fully brought to you to execute. So appreciate that. Thank you all who came to his celebration of life. I know I didn't get to go around and say hi to each of you individually, but thank you for coming very much. Chris and I and the family really appreciated it. So
It was a lot of fun. For what we were doing, it actually turned, I've been to a lot of funerals and celebration of life, but that was a very, very unique and,
I gotta say, that was the funnest one I've ever been
Yes.
to. That was
exactly.
very
Well,
neat.
that was the point. It was to truly celebrate not only his life, but your lives, to give you that pause to connect with each other when in the hustle and bustle of the day when you don't have the opportunity. And he really wanted people to roast him, which his friends and.
Well, he got roasted. There wasn't any doubt about that.
I told them I wasn't going to do that part, but they picked up the slack for me. So it's truly a celebration of life. It's the way it's intended to be. So thank you. The scholarship fund. I met with you and
Bob
Repke. Nick would be very disappointed I didn't remember the names, but to talk about the scholarship fund and what it would mean. The premise is that all of us in our lives reach a point where we need to reach back and give those an opportunity who don't have the means or the socioeconomic ability to participate in any event, whether it be schooling, sports, just life activities in general, to have that opportunity. Growing up, Nick had a special affinity in his heart for children. When it started, as I said, from him covering desegregation in the 70s at the Buffalo Courier Express. It really extended itself when Chris was in school, grammar school. He was fortunate enough to go to a private school where there were kids who couldn't afford to go on field trips or some of the events that they planned. So he and I quietly always paid for those children to go. So it could be participatory for everybody. So the thought is, he loved this community. He always said that this community felt more like home to him than any other place we lived. And he loved working on the parks board. So we wanted to set up a scholarship fund to give those children who don't have the means to participate in some of the upcoming sports, whether it's fishing, soccer, snowboarding, whatever it would be, yoga, whatever their interest is, to have the opportunity to have it paid for by them. How that all works and the mechanics of that have yet to be worked out, and we're going to work on that together. And I want to open it up. Do you have anything to add that I missed?
Yeah, no, I'd like to say it was an honor to work with Nick on the park board and get to know him since I got here with this organization, and then just been a pleasure to work with Anna. And this is really passionate to one of the goals I want to make sure we're providing within Parks and Recreation is that opportunity for all community members to be able to participate in our recreational programs and services. And so by setting up this scholarship fund is really just a great opportunity to do just that. And then, you know, we're going to be working to make sure that we can continue to grow this scholarship fund into the future, and, you know, look at different opportunities for sponsorships, and also reaching out to the community and asking people to give, you know, to help those that may not have the means to participate.
Yep.
So the recipients will be picked by here, or is this something that's gonna go to the school, and the school picks it? Because I've been involved with other scholarships, and then you kind of turn it over to the school, and they pick that. I was kind of curious, and maybe hadn't thought about that yet.
Yep, so some of those mechanics will still have to work out. Ultimately, there will be a committee of some sort that would essentially review applications, you know, to qualify people to receive this scholarship funding to be able to participate in programs.
Okay.
Yep.
I think it needs to be open, not just school-focused or specific. I think that things get lost and tend to be lost in the shuffle. And there are kids who are homeschooled today who also need the opportunity to have the same advantages. I think the way to end it and to frame it up is that education and sports is an extension of that, is the great desegregator in our country today. Not giving everybody the same opportunity or equal opportunities is what really hurts them and put them back. So if we can do that just for a few kids and give them that little push that we all needed at some point in our lives, we'll be that much further ahead of the curve and creating some kind of opportunity for them. Chris and I also wanted to announce that we'd like to, this week we're going to donate $5,000 to the fund to kind of kick it off on a oomph. I don't know what other donations have been made yet, or we can work on that and see. So Chris and I wanted to share that with you all here today. And then we'll plan it on a go-forward basis, and I know it'll be a great opportunity for so many up-and-coming children.
So as you move forward and plan this, then you'll come back to us and give us a little better
Yes.
idea of what's happening and where we're at and how to go through the procedure.
Right. And I'd
Awesome.
like to thank everybody for moving so fast to get this done. You know, time is of the essence, and everybody was asking me how they can do that. So you guys turned everything around on a dime, so thank you very much, which doesn't normally happen in government. So I want to say thank you very much for having that done, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak here today.
Thank you. I think it's quite an honor to move forward and do this for Nick, you know, like you say, how you know, like the kids so much. And this is a way just to continue his community service, as you might say, to other people that are in need. So I think it's an awesome thing, and we'll just have to wait and see how it all comes
Yeah.
together.
It's work in
So,
progress.
and thank you for putting the startup money in there.
Hey.
That always helps.
Everybody needs seed money. So thank you. All right?
All right. Anyone else have any questions before they go?
No? Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thanks, Marshall, for helping. Thank you. Young man, you're here for some reason. Come on up. There's 1.2 million people watching, so, okay? So tell us why would you come to a council meeting today?
I am here to.
What's your name first and where do you
My
live?
name's Sean. I'm from Troop 589 in Victoria, actually, but we live in Chaska. So I'm coming
guy.
here. I'm coming here to watch this meet. Well, okay, not watch it, but like, what's the word?
You're participating in it now.
Yeah, I have to like find a problem, or like, not find a problem, but I have to watch like, I can't find the word. I don't know. I just have, you guys are gonna be like, oh gosh, I'm messing this up. Okay, I need to watch you guys resolve a problem, basically, and I need to see everyone's view on the problem, and I need to record it.
Well, unfortunately, tonight
let's bring up the staffing study.
we really have nothing to resolve.
Okay, sure.
Unfortunately, the good side is you're gonna be out of here really quick, because we don't have a lot of business
Yeah.
tonight. We just have some things that we need to take care of and get approved, but, so we really don't have something that we need to really
Sure.
spend a lot of time and hash out and have a conversation. I don't know. No, we can't, because it's not on the agenda. So we can't create any controversy. As much as Councilmember Hubbard would love to create some controversy, we cannot do that. That is not legal. So, but you're welcome to be with us tonight and just,
Sure.
you're gonna see how the meetings flow, and then, we're not officially meeting the 29th, so it'd be August 5th.
August 5th.
So August 5th would be our next meeting, and I gotta believe we're gonna have agenda items with summer going on. So that would be things that, I don't know what that would be. Matt always seems to find us something, except for tonight. He doesn't have anything on there for anything that we actually have to have a lot of conversation on, so.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
But thanks for coming.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna look out and just ask, but is anyone else here for visitor presentation? And then we're just gonna move on, because no one is. All right, moves us on to approving previous meeting minutes. Is there any discussion? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Motion by Councilmember Hubbard,
Second.
second by Councilmember McGraw to approve the previous meeting minutes. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Post same sign. Motion carries. Moves us on to item 7, consent agenda. And consent agenda are items that we have to approve, but not necessarily have a conversation. But we can if need be. With that, I'll open it up. Is there anyone that has any questions regarding consent agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve consent.
Motion by Councilmember Hatfield, second by Councilmember Wang to approve consent. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Post same sign. Motion carries. Moves us on to bills. Anyone have a discussion on bills? Yes, sir.
So let's see, 4 questions.
Oh, we're getting you whittled down.
Yeah. Well, I'm learning more about what some of these things
Yeah,
are.
exactly. It does take some time.
Yep. So,
no.
yep, so page 2 is the printed page 2. The item for the Universal Protection Service, Event Center Security, is that something that was meant for one of our events, or is it something that's a pass-through?
Not wedding.
It's for weddings.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it becomes a pass-through. So if you have a wedding and have alcohol over a certain size, then people bring in security. We actually have a security service that we recommend and utilize. And if they go through us, we just pay them, and that gets included in their overall charge.
Okay, sounds good, that was easy.
Yeah.
And page 3, I see there's an item for Carver County ISGIS Department, and it shows July 2019 internet service, but I see the same line item with a different amount under Quest on page 4. So I'm wondering why we have 2 things that have the same line item, but one's for Carver County, which doesn't make
So
a
the
lot of sense to
Carver
me.
County one is actually, we subscribe with Carver County to the GIS. So they're,
Oh,
ArcView, is it called?
ArcServe or?
ArcGIS.
ArcGIS.
It's an Esri software product. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but.
Yeah,
a
so
lot of
it's,
mapping
we actually,
analysis.
the county gave us, all the cities the option to be able to subscribe onto that with them instead of having to pay our own licensing fee. So that's really that specific service that we get into, and the other one would actually be, general bandwidth that we purchased.
So the description that Carver County has under of July internet service isn't really correct. It's because we're not getting internet service.
Yeah,
from
the thing
Carver
you're
County.
probably not seeing after that is more of a description of what it
Yeah,
actually
it's
says.
that whole
Yeah.
truncation
Yeah.
problem. Okay, and then this one, I think I know what it is, but I'll ask. On page 7, under DeLang Landon Financial Services, I see this thing for looks like a Ricoh printer for $500, but it seems strange as under DeLong Landon Financial Services.
I think that's actually who we lease the machine from.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yep. So we actually lease our copier machine, and then if there's major repairs, then we pay for those and stuff. So I think that's what it's referring to.
Okay, it kind of surprised me, because I would have expected like some other, like a different, not a financial services company providing that. That's why I kind of,
I think it's because it falls under a leasing scenario. I mean, we basically lease it from.
so they're paying the leasing,
Yeah.
they're basically the financial transaction leasing company, even though it might be from somebody else. Got it. And then page 25, Tri-City William Lloyd Analytical Lab shows Water Beach testing for 104, and then Twin City Water Clinic for June water samples for 510. Are these the same thing, or are these something different?
No, so the first one is actually the testing that we do for our beach
Okay.
water. The second one is the one that we actually have to send out to do tests on our water treatment plant water.
Oh, okay. Got it. So one's sanitary, the other's.
Well,
beach.
one
One
is,
like-
one is.
That
It
was
was
like
probably
potable
testing
water.
the E. coli levels.
Yeah,
Right.
one is the and then the other one is our drinking water supply.
Yep, and so that's the one, so the beach one's the one we do only the seasonal during the summertime, right?
Yep.
Got it, yep.
And the other one, I think it's monthly, they have to send
Yep.
samples in
Yep.
of your water to make sure that it's tested by Minnesota Department of Health, I believe, but they ultimately get it, but it might be.
Yeah, we test it and give them the results.
Makes sense. Okay, that's all I've got.
Okay.
Anyone else? I have one, Matt, on page 6. It says Icon Enterprises, and it talks about a Park and Recs header package, and then the city intranet setup.
Yep. Those are two projects that we're working on communications side. The header setup is an effort to bring currently Parks and Recs website operates off a completely different platform. So if you go to the community center website, it's a whole different website platform that has been aging and is actually reaching a point where it's going to be unsupported. And so what we're taking a look, or what we're doing here is we're going to bring the Parks and Rec Community Center website and bring it into the city's website platform. So it's all under one thing, which is going to give us a whole bunch of different opportunities under that to be coordinating our messaging, having cross-training among staff, to be maintaining the information on there, and all of that. So I think an important thing to understand is that a lot of people are familiar with the community center's website. They use that to access and sign up for programs. That's ActiveNet, which is a whole different plugin that will still be used. That will still be accessible through our website. So that'll be a familiar experience. It'll continue to be a familiar experience. In addition to that, the URL, I think it's chaskacommunitycenter.com. We'll continue to direct people to the community center section of the city's website. So we'll continue to own that URL, and that will still bring people to community center content going forward. It's just about how do we manage that information and how do we become more efficient with how we're organizing our website itself. So that's that one. That's the header. The intranet is a new thing that we're creating to really serve internal communication purposes. So that'll be a web-based site that's accessible to city staff. where we'll be able to put things like HR documents and information that staff may need to, access a form and fill it out to turn into for a payroll change, for example. We'll be able to use that intranet site for those sorts of things. Also helping with cross-departmental communications, so departments can post information about projects that they're working on so that staff across the organization can access that and understand, things like that. That's the intent of the intranet.
Well, I knew what the intranet was, but I didn't think we had one, so I see.
Yep.
So I see.
Yep, so that'll be a new resource for
Okay.
the organization. Yep.
Good, thank you.
So just as a side note, do we use like collaboration tools like Microsoft? Are we an Office 365 shop? Or?
Yes.
So do we use like Microsoft Teams for cross-team collaboration and stuff like that?
Yes, they're available. I think the adoption of that is something that we'll continue to work on, but different story. Yes,
That's true for every company.
Just,
Adoption
it's-
curves.
yes.
Once you get going, everyone's like, how do we
Yeah.
live without this,
Right.
right? But
It's-
then,
it's
Because it
always
takes
that
old
kind of
rocks
ramp up
like
and
me to
understand.
get pushed along
Yeah.
and,
no one said you were an old rock.
yeah. Yeah, I did.
All right, anyone else have questions on bills? If not, I would entertain a motion to pay the bills.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Wang,
Second?
second by Councilmember Hatfield to pay the bills. Discussion. Hearing none. Nate, we call roll.
Yes, Councilmember Hatfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Hubbard,
Yes.
Councilmember Wong,
Yes.
Councilmember Grau,
Yes.
and Mayor Winchell.
Yes. Moves us to other business. Let's start with Councilmember Grau.
Actually, I don't have anything.
Okay?
It was a good 4th of July, and now it's a long way to another holiday. Halfway through summer, which seems sad, but yeah, life's good.
Yeah, a few things. So July 4th fireworks at McKnight Park was, great as it always is. So thank you to everyone who put on that fireworks there. I believe it's 11 volunteer firefighters who actually get together to do that, and which keeps the city's costs low and can do a really great show. So, thank you to everyone who was out there and working on that. One of the things I was fortunate to be able to participate in is I mentioned this in a past council meeting, but there's this Metro Cities Policy Committee, and the policy committee is one of like 3 or 4 different policy committees with Metro Cities, and this policy committee that I was participating, I volunteered to participate on because of my involvement with Southwest Transit. I'm trying to make the long story short, but give me a moment here. So with Southwest Transit, we're encountering a budget shortfall because the state legislature didn't pass some funding and legislation that would allow full funding of all the different suburban metro transit providers. Because of that, Southwest Transit's facing a potential shortfall of up to $1 million, in the next couple of months, which would seriously impact service to residents who commute downtown, as well as people who don't have transportation with, of automobiles, things like that, to get downtown as well. So because of this, I wanted to be more involved and participate in this process. And I found out about this Metro Cities committee that was around transportation policy. And I learned through volunteering in this that the committee, as part of Metro Cities, actually helps to formulate policy that's provided to legislators on this behalf of Minnesota metropolitan cities, in terms of when they look at a bill that's presented to them, said, how does this match up with what suburban cities want or need, or metropolitan cities want or need? So they use that as a way to gauge if it's something that's important to constituents or not. And participating in this committee, it was actually very enlightening because I didn't really realize how much legislature actually use resources like this in terms of decision making. But I felt that it was important to share that with the rest of council, because I realized that even though I can't change something now from what's happened in the legislature, being part of this committee is really important in helping to formulate policy positions that legislatures will use to make their decisions for next year's funding. And this will affect us very directly, because all it takes is maybe a handful of legislators to say, hey, this is really important because Metro Cities and the people who Metro Cities represents, which is us, the communities, see this as an important topic. So I wanted to share that experience, and there's still 2 more work sessions that are happening with the committee that I'm on. But I certainly encourage you, if you have an interest in some of the areas that, you know, you might be aligned with whether it's, you know, like housing or some of the economic development or things like that, to, you know, to be involved with some of that, because that's a great way that we can champion as elected officials and advocate for our city and through our community, funding avenues that will directly impact our residents here in Chaska. So I encourage everyone to do it. I know it's time, unfortunately, it's times are kind of like really very inconvenient for us, but I know for me, it's like it's on a Monday from like, you know, 9 till noon, right? So it's not exactly a great time because I have to take off from work, but I mean, I realize it's like really important that, you know, for people, I mean, there's, you know, stories of people who are like, they don't have a vehicle, they are low income, trying to support their house and their family. Their way to get downtown to where they work is Metro Southwest Transit. So that funding could directly impact those individuals. So if we can help fix that problem next year by advocating on their behalf at a state level, you know, to me, it's an important cause. So I wanted to share that it's something that we have the power to do that. We have the ability to have that change. So that's my 2 cents.
And to add to that, it's not just metro cities that we can do that with. The League of Minnesota Cities has a really good, not the metro cities, but League of Minnesota. I was really impressed with the League of Minnesota Cities group that does that. A lot of like lobbying they do. So
In fact,
a few different places we can do it.
And in fact, the Metro Cities office is actually in the League of Minnesota Cities building.
Yeah,
So-
and we subscribe, we're members of both. And so each year, the league and the Metro Cities have lobbyists that take the adopted policy direction that the Metro City Board or the League of Minnesota City Boards develop. And that ends up basically being their platform that they go over to the Capitol with each year to be able to lobby for. And, you know, it's a lot more powerful for all the cities to be standing there together than to have one individual city standing there.
And one thing I'll add is of note that was really surprising is I went to the meeting last Monday, a week ago Monday, and there was probably about I counted over 30 people in the room who were, you know, not part of staff. And of them, probably about a solid third of them were from Woodbury in that area because they were like city staff members who had volunteered in that policy committee. And of the Southwest Metro, I was the only person from the Southwest Metro because there's no one from Eden Prairie, Chanhassen, Carver, Victoria, Waconia, Shakopee. I don't think there's anyone from Wayzata there. I mean, so basically I was the only person representing this part of our community. That's not right. And it's a little scary. You know, so that I have to kind of champion what's important to us around with a whole bunch of other people from the nearest ones were Hopkins and Bloomington. So, you know, so I just wanted to share that. If you can get involved, if you have the ability to, strongly encourage you to do that. So 2 other, and then a couple other notes here. Upcoming events, June 19th, the Chaska Farmers Market, or sorry, not June 19th, but the Farmers Market on Wednesdays that started on the 19th, that's from 3 to 7 p.m. That's going on. And do you have anything to add to that?
It's been going really well.
So far?
Yeah.
And then they have the ongoing exhibit at Chaska History Center about World War I and World War II and the fight overseas and the support at home. So for those of you history buffs, that's a really cool thing to see. And of course, July 19th to 21st, the Fire and Ice Festival, which is coming right up. And last but not least, the July 16th from 5 to 7 p.m. At the Arboretum McMillan Auditorium, there's a public open house on that Arboretum Area Transportation Project. So I know this kind of affects the northern part of the city, but you know, I wanted to get that out there for people who are interested because a lot of people do drive around that area, and the traffic does kind of go through part of Chaska. But it will have an impact certainly on us because, you know, we're affected by it, and, you know, we'll have some funding associated with it. And it does affect a number of Chaska residents too. So, but I wanted to make sure that people knew about that because if you do go and use that corridor for transportation, it's going to be a lot of they're trying to gather information at this point to understand like a lot of the history and the needs from a consumer perspective in terms of from a resident and user perspective. So, and then, of course, my condolences to Greg Osterdyke's family, you know, Mayor of Carver, former Mayor Carver, who passed away. So my condolences to him and his family and to all the good work that he did over the years to Carver, for Carver. Yeah.
Sad services are, reveals Friday night and funeral is Saturday. I think I heard 10:30, but Saturday sometime,
Where's that?
but, Burtis and then Guardian Angels.
Okay.
Yep, that's all I got.
Okay. Councilmember Hubbard?
All right, just a few things. I attended the 4th of July Jonathan Association, like, kitty festival. It was a lot of fun. There a lot of great activities for the kids, free. Just a nice community gathering. I got to look at some information that they had out in regards to the rebuild of the pavilion that they would like to do. So that was a really nice event on the 4th. Yeah, I was gonna mention the traffic study is tomorrow. I do plan to go at the Arboretum at the Macmillan. It's in the newer part, or I guess it's not really all that new, but the Oswald Visitor Center. So, other thing I want to mention is my son and I have been participating in the Carver County Library Universe of Stories. I don't know if any of you guys are aware with your young ones that there is, that's happening June 1st through the 10th. You can sign up for it, and it's really neat. You have them do simple book reviews. I just have my son, he's 4, so just describe what the book was about, and I type it in the online. And we actually won free state fair tickets, so that was big money saved. So it pays to kind of take the time to do that and utilize the library. Just one more thing, the Equity in the Schools Community Conversation is happening on July 22nd. I think it's at the Carver Elementary.
Yeah.
I really encourage everybody to go, whether they're a resident or if their child is in the school district. I think that more people, the more information. Yeah, excited for the Fire and Ice Festival. So that's it for me.
Okay. Councilmember Hatfield?
I have nothing other than to say that the Fire and Ice advertising this year is stellar and just like killing it everywhere I look. I'm like, okay, I'm going to Fire and Ice. So good job to whoever's doing that because it's been really impressive. That's all I have.
8?
Trying to think. River City Days. So
I got that.
we're taking a look at the city's booth for that. I've been doing some planning. Every year we do have a booth, and it's an opportunity for staff and council members to interact with the public. We try to have a topic for the booth every year. So oftentimes it has revolved around developments or big projects that the city's pursuing. This year, we're taking a little bit of a shift. We're going to try and highlight programs that are available to community members that the city provides. And so things like the shade tree purchase program, or the car seat, the car fit assistance that the police department provides.
Bike helmet fit.
Bike helmet fit, the electric utility rebate. We'll have the light bulbs there to give out. So just sort of talking about some of those things that exist and residents can take advantage of, and we want them to take advantage of and use, but maybe sometimes tend to fly under the radar a little bit. So trying to, just raise that awareness and make those things available to folks. So we'll be pulling information together, have that stuff available at the booth. And I'll be helping to organize the sign up for you all to sign up for your time that you want to be there, and organize that. So look for that to come your way within the next couple days here. I think it should be a good time. So.
And our Human Rights Commission is going to have a booth as well at River City Days, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And they'll talk a little bit about like the census and stuff,
Yep.
so that's an interesting
Yep.
one
Yeah.
to stop by too.
That's right. Yeah, the Human Rights Commission does, and like the City Council does a booth every year. And this year they're going to focus on Census 2020, trying to raise some awareness around that. They'll have some information to provide to folks, be able to answer questions about it, and help people understand, why it's important to participate in that. So.
No, the city council booth doesn't involve a dunk tank this year, does it?
No.
It could. Oh, no. Okay, I guess not.
We did that one year down at for something down
I
at.
would gladly get
It was down at,
Oh, yeah?
oh, I think it was
Sure, okay.
Oh, they wanted.
down at the Cubs.
No, you sure it wasn't
raise
the
money for
Second
the
Street
scholarship.
thing?
Make it happen.
They were,
Maybe.
they were trying to get
There,
people
don't
to do that. I think, I don't know.
Somewhere I got dunked and it wasn't pleasant.
Never done that.
I wouldn't do that.
It's cold.
Is it cold? That's cold,
It's cold.
It's hose water.
Just,
That's all.
Girl Scout is.
just to touch a little bit on the booth, we've been doing that booth for about 8 years now. And it's roughly a 2-hour shift, and we try to pair a council member with a staff member and our department head, and it's always a good time, so make sure that I am unfortunately not here for that on Saturday, I'm gone. So, first one I'll miss in a long time, but I'm out of town, so will not make that, so you guys will have to cover another
I
shift.
guess we're gonna have to take 2 shifts.
Just 2 shifts. But it usually works out pretty good, so.
We're talking about having some iPads at the booth, to allow people to interact with some interactive maps, but maybe we could use one of them to let you Skype in.
I'll be right on that.
Okay, all right,
I'll
just
be
want to
right
put
on
that out
that.
there.
Let's get hooked up.
All right. There's a community problem that just got addressed.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Matt, you got anything?
Nope.
Okay. I just got a few things. Like I said, we've touched on fire and ice, and that really is truly a full city event. That is really run a lot by our Park and Rec staff. And it's a great time. Anybody that doesn't know that there's activities Friday night, then there's a band, and then there's fireworks at 10 o'clock right at the park. It's awesome. I think that's part of the thing that makes it so nice. And then on Saturday, there's events all day Saturday for the kids and stuff. And as far as I know, everything's free, right?
Yep.
Everything's free, so it's quite the deal. And then there's food, and local craft beer companies are here, and so that's always a good time. And then River City Days, that's kind of been our town's doings forever, but that's really a private organization that's run by another group of people, although the city has a big piece of it. It's really ran and operated by a private group, that's River City Days. So Tim Siebenauer has been in charge of it for a million years, and he does a heck of a job. So I just always want to recognize Tim for his work. And I know they're reorganizing. They've got different committees now, and which is what they needed, because that was too much work for one person to do. And he never asked for any help. He had offered, and he said, "No, I'm good. And so, and I see they're going to do some changes, so that's important. I think they're at a time where they need to make some changes and add some things and do some things, and I think they're doing some things. So that'll be interesting. So that'd be the last full weekend in July. So always a good thing. And then that Sunday, there's always a parade, and we do participate in that parade. So if you can program that into your schedules. So. Also, we talking about events. We'll have a council meeting before this, but again, the Flags of Honor on August 10th, which is a volunteer, they're a 501c3 that the money they raise, they give it to veterans in need of money. But they're having a car show in City Park, and that's always a fun one. They bring in a lot of cars. There's a car show at River City Days as well, so we got them almost back to back there a couple weeks. And but they're August 10th. So that's another event that's
And they have
happening.
more than just cars too, which is
Yeah,
what
they
I
have
love.
motorcycles, tractors,
It's a fun one.
anything that's got wheels, they
Yeah.
got it there, so that's fun. River City Days, Fire Ice. Our next meeting is August 5th, we're back on schedule. There is a 5th Monday, but we are not having a council meeting that night.
We are having work session
Yep,
stuff that
yep.
night.
But there's no televised council meeting, so won't be looking. So our next one will be August 5th, and then whatever after that would be the 19th. So with that, I am done. Anyone else have anything? Last call. Not an entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Wang.
Second.
Was that you?
Yeah.
Second by, be quiet. Second by Councilmember Hatfield to adjourn. All in favor?
Yell in your ear.
Yeah, no, not Hatfield,
Hubbard.
Hubbard. The second was Councilmember Hubbard.
So many H's.
I know, too many. Now I'm really screwed up. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Have a good night, thank you. Oh.